Do you feel stuck and you cannot explain why? Like stuck in your spiritual work or your spiritual progression? In this video, I'm going to explain why that happens, and it might not be what you think, as well as 3 different ways to help move yourself and get unstuck. So first, it happened to me several times. Yeah, more than several, a bunch of times along my spiritual path where I'm like going along and suddenly I would just not be making progress, or I felt like I was going backwards, or I'd feel really stuck and confused, and there wasn't anything in particular wrong. I was doing all the right things. I was meditating, I was journaling or whatever, but I still wasn't making progress. I'm here to tell you, you are not doing anything wrong. You're not broken. It's more than likely, of all things, your nervous system. What happens with trauma, if you're here, I bet you have had trauma in your past. I know I have. I've already talked about it, but briefly, my dad left when I was about 4 or 5 years old, and my mom was not mentally well at all. And my older siblings were a lot older than me, so by the time I was 9, 2 of them got married in the same year, and my brother went off to college. And my mom was either absolutely raging and beating me and doing some pretty weird stuff, or she was sleeping out of depression. She pretty much had 2 modes. There was no happy mode in between. She's long since passed. We ended up in a good place, thank God, but it was very painful, and there was a lot of trauma. There was also sexual trauma. So I've had my fair share, probably like many of you. But the point is, when you have trauma, it ends up in your body. It's not just mental or even physical if you've been hit. I was beaten, hairbrushes, spatulas, belts, all kinds, doors slamming on my hands, all kinds of things. But besides physical abuse, even like mental trauma lands in your body and it gets stored in your nervous system. And your nervous system might very well be the reason why you're feeling stuck. So, as you know, when we have trauma or something bad happens, there's a fight or flight response. But there's 2 other ones that I didn't know about until recently. I have experienced them, but I didn't know that that's what was happening. So there's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And the freeze and fawn one I did not know about until recently. So fight's kind of obvious, and this is how it shows up in spiritual progress. So fight is where, and I spent a lot of my life doing this one, just rushing to the next thing. Let's get it done. Let's fix it. Let's go. Let's move. No time to breathe. No time to ground. No time to take inventory. Stop. No time to contemplate what is the next best step. Nope. Let's move on. Let's get it done. All done. Bye. Next thing. Go. Yeah, that doesn't work. Let me just save you some years of doing that. That does not work. Okay, so then there's, of course, flight, which seems kind of obvious in trauma response. But in your spiritual progress response, the way flight shows up is not giving anything a chance to work, like flitting or flying or running from one, type of spiritual work to the next. I'll try this meditation. I'll try this meditation. I'll go to this meditation. Just sort of really jumping or hopping to the next best thing. Okay, then we've got freeze. So that's kind of obvious, like deer in the headlights, and obviously a trauma response. But within the spiritual path, and I've also experienced this quite a bit, you feel numb or lost or stuck. All of these can make you actually be stuck on your spiritual path. But in particular, freeze can really feel like being stuck. No forward progress. And then there's fawning. right? Pleasing, being nice. Oh, I like you so much. I'll do whatever you say, you know, trying to please others, which can be obvious, but in this case, it's trying to maybe even lose yourself to please a spiritual group or fit in with the spiritual group. So that's fawning. I also have done that. Ooh, have I done that? Pretty much done all of them. I think all humans have these coping mechanisms. So if you've done any of these, please do not have judgment on yourself. It's a coping mechanism. You are doing the absolute best you can to try and deal with something traumatic. It's not easy. Okay, so the other thing to keep in mind, which helped me not judge myself, is when these go into in our body, it's actually our body's way of protecting itself. It's just going into a protection type of mode. All right, so now let's talk about some of the hidden signs that your nervous system is dysregulated, not working properly. So one thing is like spiritual bypassing, which is like everything's rosy, I'm happy, oh la la, I'm so happy, I do meditation, I'm just, you know, everything's perfect, I'm all over my trauma. Oh, and the best one I love, I don't judge others, because judgment is bad. I hate to tell you, that's a judgment right there. Anyway, yeah, so spiritual bypassing is one sign. Another one is, and I've done this one, energetic hypervigilance. For years, I've because my mom used to just come at me suddenly and hit me or whatever out of nowhere. And I've also been in a few car accidents, which is another discussion. But hypervigilance, I would walk around like always waiting, like especially in a car, like expecting to be hit. Is somebody going to back into me? Is somebody going to hit me from behind? It's this feeling of you don't know where it's coming from, or being in a group and is there a bad vibe here? Is there, you know, like, because you're becoming spiritually aware and now you know about vibrations, and like everybody's vibration is too much for you. And I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm saying that's a sign that your nervous system is out of regulation, deregulated. I'm not saying you should spend time in large crowds if it doesn't feel good to you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it's a sign that something's off. So another sign is addiction to spiritual highs, or looking for that next spiritual big experience, right? Again, there's nothing wrong with enjoying them and wanting one, but it's like searching and a push to find one, right? That's, again, another sign that your system is deregulated. Another one that's very prevalent, is dissociation. I've seen it. I studied Buddhism for a number of years. And in Buddhism, Buddha taught a lot about non-attachment. But there's a difference between non-attachment and disassociation. Non-attachment is you're fully present, you're fully feeling, you're fully enjoying something, but when it goes, you're okay with that. If it comes back, you're okay with that. Your peace, your inner peace, best word, isn't predicated or isn't dependent on outside things or certain experiences. Your peace stays the same no matter what comes and goes. You're not attached to it, but you're not disassociated. It's very different. Disassociated is a numbness. It really is a thing that will get you stuck. But it's also common because think about it. When we go through a traumatic experience, we don't want to feel that. I know I didn't. I have a whole video talking about, grounding and jumping out of your body when you have a traumatic experience. And often when you've had a traumatic experience, you may get partially back in your body, but you're not fully present back in your body. And we're going to talk more about that in a second. So anyway, dissociation is another sign. And then another one is resistance to stillness. And this is very prevalent for me too. It took me the longest time to meditate on a regular basis because I didn't want to be alone in the quiet with me or whatever was going on. The more peaceful I became, the more I did it, the more peaceful I became, the easier it was. But it's another sign of trying to push away, escape, and deregulation in your nervous system. Okay, so those are the signs. Now, I've been waiting. What are the things that will help you and help to regulate back? So one thing is, you could call it somatic awareness. It's really becoming aware within your body. So when you are feeling stuck or fearful or any of the anxious, any of the feelings you don't want to feel, before you try to push it away, before you try to get away from it or resist it, stop for, if you can, if you're in the middle of something at work, that's different. But as soon as you can, take a minute and stop and feel where it is in your body. Does your chest feel tight? Does your throat feel tight? Is it in your solar plexus? Is it in your lower part? Is it in your belly? Where do you feel this? Back of your head, front of your head? Find where it is and take a minute and breathe into the feeling. Be okay with it. And I'm going to give you a major tip. With your best effort and your intention, use appreciation. This feeling, however uncomfortable and crappy it is in that moment, it's there for your benefit, to teach you something, to show you something that still needs to be healed. It is a gift. Doesn't feel like it in the moment, but with whatever molecule you can, try and appreciate that this feeling has shown up to help you learn, grow, and heal. So instead of resisting, pushing away, go to wherever it is, belly, head, wherever, neck, go to where it is. And with appreciation, feel it for a few moments. I'm a big believer in pendulating. If it's a really overwhelming, difficult feeling, feel it for 5 seconds, 10 if you can, but 5 seconds, and then put your attention on something outside of yourself. If you need to use describing it out loud, like, don't just say it's a tissue box with white tissues. It's blue, it's square, it has, my notes are falling, it has a leaf pattern on the outside. Like, really get into the description, and that will take your attention off the pain, and then bring your attention back to the pain. 5 seconds, just really feel it with appreciation. So that's one, and that is a very powerful tool to have in your arsenal. I highly recommend it. Another one is orienting yourself. So this, it's almost like a form of grounding. It's another way of saying you're safe in your body and you are right here. I am fully present right here. And the way you do this is notice things in the room very slowly. But don't use the mind as much as you can. Don't use the mind to name them or label them. Just notice the shape of one thing, just for a second or two. And then notice the shape, notice the color, the texture of something else. Don't label it. Next thing, oh, look at that shape. And you can do this quietly. You can do this at work. The next thing, notice another thing. Just notice the shape, or notice the color or the texture of it. Don't name it chair, glass, tissue box. Just, right? So that's orienting yourself, and it will bring you back to the present moment. And then finally, the last one is grounding. And I have a grounding meditation that I just did yesterday. So May 7th or 8th is the grounding one. So basically, it's very simple. In a nutshell, you bring all your attention to your body. You take 3 deep breaths. And slowly, you feel the aliveness in each part of your body, very slowly. It's best to do this sitting with your legs uncrossed, with your back straight. Just feel the aliveness in your head, little by little, go down to your neck, so on and so forth, all the way down to your feet. And if you've really had a traumatic experience, you may never have felt and put your consciousness all the way in your body. I talk about this in the grounding meditation. My whole consciousness was here up. I was mostly in my head, a little bit to my heart, but I was not in the rest of my body. And I was like 45, just yesterday when I discovered this. That was a joke, clearly. Anyway, yeah, so grounding. Keep going. If you need to use your will, just let yourself know that it's safe to go all the way down into your toes. And then I recommend feeling this energetic tail coming from the base of your spine and put it all the way down into Mother Earth. You feel a light shining from the divine into your heart, and this tail going down into Mother Earth, and Mother Earth's love coming up your spine, meeting at your heart, until you're just immersed in pure, grounded love. So those are my 3 tips. I hope it was helpful. Let me know if you have another tip that I didn't talk about. I would love to hear it. See you next time.